Admiral Jinwoo Park stood on the bridge of the flagship Indomitable, staring at the endless stars beyond the viewport. The ship floated quietly in the darkness of space, far from any planet or station. This was the human staging ground, a secret location where Earth's fleet waited for orders. Jinwoo had been in command for 5 years now, and in all that time, they had done nothing but wait. The war between the Galactic Coalition and the Vrathian Empire had been going on for 3 years. Humans had joined the coalition only 4 years ago, eager to prove themselves among the stars, but the other alien species saw humans differently. They thought humans were weak. Small bodies, fragile bones, short lives. The coalition gave humans simple jobs: carry supplies, fix broken ships, transport medical equipment. Nothing important, nothing dangerous. Jinwoo did not mind. He followed orders. His fleet of 500 ships stayed hidden, training in secret, preparing for a day that might never come. The other species did not know what these ships could do. Jinwoo preferred it that way. Captain Hana Lee walked across the bridge toward him. She was his tactical officer, the best strategist he had ever known. Her face showed concern. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from Coalition Command," she said quietly. "Put it through," Jinwoo replied. The holographic display flickered to life. Supreme Commander Draxus appeared, his alien face covered in blue scales, his eyes showing fear. Draxus was a Valtorian, one of the oldest species in the Coalition. Jinwoo had never seen him afraid before. "All available ships," Draxus began, his voice shaking. "The Vrathian Empire has assembled their full fleet. 10,000 warships. They are attacking Nexus 7, our homeworld. We have 3,000 ships defending, but it is not enough. We need every vessel that can reach us. Please, anyone who can help." The transmission ended. Silence filled the bridge. Every human on the crew looked at Jinwoo, waiting for his decision. Dr. Yuna Choi, the chief science officer, checked her console. "Admiral, Nexus 7 is 40 light-years away. Using standard coalition jump drives, it would take us 76 hours to arrive. The battle will be over long before we get there." Jinwoo nodded slowly. "Calculate the route using our quantum slip drive." Yuna's eyes widened. "Sir, that technology is classified. We've never revealed it to the coalition." "Calculate it," Jinwoo repeated calmly. Her fingers moved across the controls. Numbers appeared on the screen. 40 hours, sir. We could arrive in 40 hours. Commander Taeyang Kim, who led the fighter wings, stepped forward. "Admiral, if we use our real technology, the coalition will know we've been hiding our capabilities. They'll ask questions." Jinwoo looked at each of them. His crew, his people. They had trained together for years, waiting for this moment. He thought about Draxus's face, the fear in his voice. He thought about the 10,000 enemy ships bearing down on innocent people. "The coalition thinks we are weak," Jinwoo said quietly. "They think we can only carry boxes and bandages. Maybe it is time we show them who humans really are." Hana smiled. "All ships ready for quantum slip jump, sir. 500 vessels awaiting your command." Jinwoo activated the fleet-wide communication channel. His face appeared on every screen across all 500 human ships. 50,000 crew members listened. "This is Admiral Park," he began. "The coalition is dying. Their homeworld is under attack. They called for help, not expecting anyone to answer. They certainly did not expect us. But we are going to show them what Earth's defense fleet can do. We are going to save them. Prepare for immediate departure. All ships, engage quantum slip drives on my mark." Across the staging ground, 500 massive ships hummed to life. Energy built up around their hulls, creating waves of light that rippled through space. The ships were enormous, larger than anything the coalition had ever built. Each one carried weapons that humanity had spent centuries developing, weapons designed during Earth's darkest days, when nations fought each other with terrible violence, weapons that could crack planets. But the Coalition did not know about these weapons. They had never seen them. Humanity had joined the Coalition with older, weaker ships. They pretended to be simple. They pretended to be harmless. It was safer that way. Minho Kang, the lead engineer, monitored the power systems. All reactors at full capacity, Admiral. Quantum slip drives ready. Good, Jinwoo said. He took a deep breath. All ships. Jump. Space itself seemed to tear open. 500 ships vanished in an instant, leaving only empty darkness behind. They traveled faster than light. Faster than any Coalition ship could dream of moving. They bent space and time, crossing distances that should have been impossible. Inside the Indomitable, the crew worked efficiently. They had practiced this moment 1,000 times. Hana coordinated with the other ships, making sure the fleet stayed in perfect formation during the jump. Yuna monitored their course, ensuring they would arrive exactly where they needed to be. Taeyang prepared his fighter wings, readying 50,000 automated combat drones for battle. Jinwoo sat in his command chair and waited. 40 hours. In 40 hours, they would arrive at Nexus 7. The Coalition expected nothing from them. The Vrathian Empire did not even know humans existed. Both sides were about to learn the truth. Earth had nearly destroyed itself once. Humans had built weapons so terrible that they almost ended their own species. Then, they stopped. They chose peace. They unified, but they never forgot how to fight. They never forgot how to build those terrible weapons. They just learned to control them. Now, those weapons would be used to protect instead of destroy. The Coalition would see what humanity could do. The Vrathian Empire would feel the full weight of Earth's military power. Jinwoo closed his eyes and thought about home. Earth. The blue planet where humans had crawled out of caves and reached for the stars. Where they had fought terrible wars and finally found peace. Where they had built a fleet in secret, hoping never to use it. That hope was ending. The fleet would be used. And when it arrived, the galaxy would never see humans the same way again. 40 hours until Nexus 7. 40 hours until everything changed. Nexus 7 hung in space like a jewel, its blue and green surface visible from orbit. 5 billion people lived on that world, representing 12 different species from across the Coalition. It was the heart of their civilization, the place where the Galactic Coalition had been born 200 years ago. Now it was about to die. Supreme Commander Draxus stood in the command center on the orbital defense station. Through the massive windows, he could see his fleet assembling. 3,000 ships, the last of the Coalition's military power. Beyond them, emerging from the darkness, came the enemy. The Vrathian Empire fleet was like a swarm of insects blotting out the stars. 10,000 warships, each one bristling with weapons. They moved in perfect formation, surrounding the planet from all sides. There would be no escape, no rescue. This was the end. All ships report ready, Commander, said his tactical officer, a young Valtorian named Soren. Draxus nodded. His scales felt heavy, his body tired. 3 years of war had led to this moment. 3 years of losing, retreating, watching colonies burn. The Vrathian Empire wanted to rule the galaxy, and they had the strength to do it. Open a channel to all ships, Draxus ordered. Let me speak to them. Soren activated the communication system. Draxus's face appeared on every ship in the Coalition fleet. My friends, he began, his voice steady despite the fear in his heart. Today we face impossible odds. The enemy outnumbers us 3-1. Their weapons are stronger, their shields are better. We will probably not survive this battle, but we fight anyway. We fight because Nexus 7 holds our families, our children, our future. If we must die, we die protecting what we love. All ships, prepare for combat. The channel closed. Draxus felt old. He had lived for 90 years, commanded fleets for 40. He had seen many battles, won many victories. But this was different. This was the end of everything. Captain Salman Han commanded the scout division, 12 small ships positioned at the edge of the system. Her job was to watch for enemy movements and relay information to the main fleet. She sat in her chair, watching the Vrathian armada approach. "They're spreading out," she reported to her crew. "Classic encirclement pattern. They'll attack from all directions at once." Lieutenant Yunji Baek, her communications specialist, was young and frightened. "Captain, do you think we can win?" Salmon wanted to lie, to give her crew hope, but she respected them too much for that. "No," she said quietly, "but we can make them remember us." Suddenly, Unji's console lit up with alerts. "Captain, I'm detecting something strange on long-range sensors. There's a massive energy signature approaching from the outer system." Salmon frowned. "Another Vrathian fleet?" "No, ma'am. The signature is different. The energy readings are enormous. And they're moving fast. Faster than anything I've ever seen." Salmon checked her own sensors. Unji was right. Something was coming, and it was moving at impossible speeds. No ship in the known galaxy could travel that fast. The readings had to be wrong, some kind of sensor malfunction. "Lieutenant, run a full diagnostic on the sensors," Salmon ordered. "Already done, Captain. Sensors are working perfectly. Whatever is coming, it's real." Salmon sent the data to Coalition Command. Within seconds, Draxus was on her screen. "Captain Han, what am I looking at?" he asked. "I don't know, sir. The computer identifies it as a fleet. 500 ships. But the energy signatures are off the scale, and their speed. Sir, they're traveling at velocities that should be impossible." Draxus studied the data. His eyes widened. "Their trajectory. They're coming from human space." "The humans?" Salmon was shocked. "But humans can barely manage basic warp drives. These readings suggest quantum-level propulsion, technology we don't even have." "I know," Draxus said softly. "Send me continuous updates. I want to know the moment they arrive." 2. The Vrathian fleet reached attack position. Warlord Krevos, commander of the Empire's forces, sat on his command throne aboard his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds. He was massive, even for his species, with dark armor covering his body and a face that showed only cruelty. "The Coalition fleet is pathetic," he growled to his officers. 3,000 ships against 10,000. This will not be a battle. It will be an execution. "Shall we begin the attack, Warlord?" asked his second-in-command. "No," Krevos said. "First, we make them beg. Open a channel to their supreme commander." Moments later, Draxus's face appeared on Krevos's screen. The Valtorian looked defiant, but Krevos could see the fear beneath. "Supreme Commander Draxus," Krevos said with a cruel smile. "You are surrounded. Your fleet is outmatched. Your planet is defenseless. I offer you one chance to surrender. Bow to the Vrathian Empire, and your people will become our slaves. Refuse, and every living thing on Nexus 7 will burn. You have one of your standard hours to decide." Draxus's scales darkened with anger. "We will never surrender to you. Then you will die," Krevos replied, ending the transmission. 1 hour. Draxus had 1 hour to prepare for the end. He looked at the tactical display, studying his fleet position. 3,000 ships. Good crews. Brave warriors. But not enough. Not nearly enough. "Commander," Unji's voice came through suddenly. "The unknown fleet is dropping out of faster-than-light travel. They're arriving at the edge of the system. Now." Draxus switched his display to show the outer system. What he saw made him forget to breathe. 500 ships appeared out of nowhere, materializing from distorted space like ghosts becoming real. But these were not ghosts. Each ship was massive, larger than any Coalition vessel. They gleamed with unknown metals, their hulls covered in weapons that Draxus did not recognize. Energy crackled around them. Power readings that made his most advanced battleships look like toys. "Identify those ships," Draxus ordered. The computer analyzed the signatures. The answer appeared on screen. Earth Defense Fleet. Impossible, Draxus whispered. The humans sent their supply ships? What can they possibly do? But even as he spoke, he knew these were not supply ships. These were warships. Real warships. Ships that humanity had kept hidden from the galaxy. The lead human ship, the Indomitable, sent a transmission. It was not directed at the Coalition. It was broadcast to everyone. Coalition. Vrathian. Every sensor in the system, a human appeared on screen. He wore a military uniform, his face calm and confident. Admiral Jinwoo Park. This is Admiral Jinwoo Park of the Earth Defense Fleet, he said in perfect galactic standard language. We received a call for help. We have arrived. Vrathian Empire. You have one chance. Surrender your forces immediately, or we will remove you from this system. You have 5 minutes to comply. Draxus stared at the screen in shock. 500 ships against 10,000? And the human was demanding surrender? It was madness. Unless, Saman's voice came through again. Commander, you need to see these energy readings. The human ships, their weapons systems are charging up. The power levels are beyond anything in our database. Sir, I think they might actually be able to fight. On the Destroyer of Worlds, Warlord Krivos laughed when he heard the human transmission. He laughed so hard his officers looked uncomfortable. 500 ships, he roared with amusement. 500, and they demand our surrender. These humans are either very brave or very stupid. Show them what happens to those who threaten the Vrathian Empire. All ships, destroy the human fleet. Leave nothing alive. 2,000 Vrathian warships broke formation and accelerated toward the human fleet. Draxus watched helplessly, certain he was about to witness the destruction of Earth's forces, but Admiral Jinwoo Park did not look worried. He simply nodded to someone off-screen and said one word, begin. The human fleet floated in perfect formation, 500 massive ships arranged in a pattern that looked almost beautiful. Admiral Jinwoo Park watched the approaching Vrathian vessels on his tactical display, 2,000 enemy warships, moving fast, weapons charging. They would reach firing range in 90 seconds. Captain Hana Lee stood beside him, her hands moving across her control panel. All ships are connected to the tactical network, Admiral. Quantum targeting system is online. Every vessel is ready. Fighter wings prepared for launch. Commander Taeyong Kim reported from his station. 50,000 combat drones armed and awaiting orders. Dr. Yuna Choi looked up from her science console. Energy shields are at maximum. Weapons systems showing full power. All reactors operating at optimal levels. Jinwoo nodded. Everything was ready. Everything they had trained for, prepared for, built for. This moment had been coming since humans first reached the stars. Since they first learned they were not alone in the universe. Since they first realized that the galaxy could be a dangerous place. Earth had learned hard lessons. Centuries ago, humans had nearly destroyed themselves with terrible weapons. Nuclear bombs, biological warfare. Machines designed only to kill. They had stood on the edge of extinction, staring into the darkness of their own making. Then, they chose differently. They put down the weapons, made peace, unified their world, but they never forgot how to build those weapons. They never forgot the lessons of war. They simply learned to control their power, to use it wisely, and when they reached space, when they found the Galactic Coalition, they kept their true strength hidden. Better to be underestimated than feared. Now the time for hiding was over. Minho, Jinwoo said to his lead engineer. Transfer all available power to weapons systems. I want every plasma lance at full charge. Minho Kang's fingers flew across his console. Redirecting power from secondary systems now. Admiral, plasma lances charging to maximum. We'll be ready in 30 seconds. Hana studied the enemy formation. The Vrathian vanguard is spreading out, trying to flank us from multiple angles. Classic pack tactics. They plan to overwhelm us with numbers. Let them try, Jinwoo said calmly. Hana, activate Protocol Ragnarok. Hana smiled. Protocol Ragnarok. They had practiced this battle plan hundreds of times in simulation. It was designed for exactly this situation. Outnumbered, surrounded, fighting an enemy that thought they were weak. The protocol would show the galaxy what humans could do when they stopped holding back. Protocol Ragnarok activated, Hana confirmed. All ships have received their targeting assignments. Firing solutions calculated. We're ready, Admiral. The Vrathian ships were close now. 60 seconds to firing range. Jinwoo could see them clearly on the display, dark and menacing, bristling with weapons. Each one was large, well-armed, crewed by warriors who had conquered dozens of worlds. They had never lost a battle. They had never fought humans. Jinwoo opened a channel to the entire fleet. All ships, this is Admiral Park. Remember your training. Remember why we are here. We came to protect our friends. We came to show the galaxy that humans stand with those who need us. Fire when ready. Show them Earth's strength. On board the Indomitable, Yuna monitored the quantum targeting network. It was humanity's secret weapon. A system that linked all 500 ships into a single, unified intelligence. The network could calculate trajectories, predict enemy movements, coordinate attacks across the entire fleet with perfect precision. No coalition species had anything like it. The technology required quantum computers that only humans had developed. Targeting network is locked on all enemy vessels, Yuna reported. Probability of successful first strike, 97%. Taeyong prepared to launch his fighter wings. But these were not ordinary fighters. Each drone was controlled by advanced artificial intelligence. Could think and react faster than any living pilot. They could coordinate with each other, sharing information instantly, acting as a single swarm with 50,000 bodies. Earth had banned using such technology in warfare between human nations. But these were not humans they were fighting. Drone swarms ready for deployment, Taeyong said. AI systems initialized. They're eager to fly, Admiral. Jinwoo smiled slightly. Taeyong always talked about the drones as if they were alive. Maybe they were. In their own way. Complex machines, designed by humans, carrying the knowledge of thousands of years of warfare. They would fight with precision that no living creature could match. Launch when the battle begins, Jinwoo ordered. The Vrathian vanguard reached firing range. 2,000 ships unleashed their weapons simultaneously. Energy beams, plasma missiles, kinetic projectiles, everything they had. The space between the two fleets lit up with deadly light. Every coalition sensor in the system watched to see what would happen when that wall of destruction reached the human fleet. Draxus held his breath. Saman gripped her chair. Even Warlord Krivos leaned forward, curious to see how quickly the humans would die. The weapons hit the human shields and simply vanished. Absorbed, dispersed, nullified. Not a single shot got through. The human ships did not even shudder from the impact. Impossible, Krivos growled. Hana checked her readings. Shields holding at 98%. Their weapons barely scratched us. 1. Return fire, Jinwoo said calmly. The human fleet fired. 50 massive battleships, each one larger than any ship in the Vrathian vanguard. From their hulls came beams of concentrated plasma, energy weapons that Earth had developed in secret. The plasma lances cut through space at the speed of light. Perfectly accurate, impossibly powerful. The Vrathian shields, legendary for their strength, lasted less than a second. The plasma cut through them like paper and struck the ships themselves. Metal melted. Hulls shattered. Reactors exploded. In the first salvo, 500 Vrathian warships simply ceased to exist. 500 ships, 500 crews, gone in an instant. The coalition forces watched in stunned silence. Draxus could not believe what he was seeing. 500 enemy ships destroyed in seconds. With one attack, by only 50 human vessels. What kind of weapons are those? Soren whispered. Draxus had no answer. He had never seen anything like it. The power required to punch through Vrathian shields that easily was beyond anything the coalition possessed. It was beyond anything he thought was possible. The surviving Vrathian ships in the vanguard scattered, trying to retreat. But Hana's tactical network had already predicted their movements. Targeting solutions updated automatically. The human fleet fired again. Another volley of plasma lances. Another 500 enemy ships destroyed. 1,000 Vrathian vessels gone. And the main battle had not even started yet. Taeyang launched his drones. 50,000 small craft burst from the human ships like a swarm of angry insects. They were fast. Incredibly fast. Moving in patterns that seemed random, but were actually perfectly calculated. The drones split into groups, each group targeting different enemy ships. The Vrathian fleet tried to shoot them down. Thousands of point defense weapons tracked the drones, fired at them. A few drones were destroyed, but most dodged with inhuman reflexes. They reached the enemy ships and began their work. These drones did not just attack with weapons. They carried something more dangerous. Hacking systems designed to break into enemy computers. The drones attached to Vrathian hulls and sent out electronic attacks, invading ship systems, taking control. Within seconds, Vrathian weapons turned against their own fleet. Navigation systems failed, shields dropped. Chaos spread through the enemy formation. Yuna watched the battle with satisfaction. Every weapon system humanity had developed was working perfectly. The plasma lances, the quantum shields, the AI drones, the hacking technology, centuries of research and development, all coming together in this moment. "Admiral," she said, "the enemy is in complete disarray. Their formation is broken. Command and control systems are failing across their fleet." Jinwoo studied the tactical display. The Vrathian vanguard was destroyed. 2,000 ships reduced to debris and confusion. But 8,000 enemy vessels remained. Warlord Krevos would not surrender easily. The real battle was about to begin. "All ships, advance," Jinwoo ordered. "Close to optimal firing range. Prepare for full engagement. Show them what happens when they threaten innocent people. Show them the strength of Earth." The human fleet moved forward as one, 500 warships accelerating toward the main Vrathian armada. Behind them, the coalition fleet watched in awe. Ahead of them, 8,000 enemy ships prepared to fight back. And in that moment, every species in the galaxy learned the same lesson. Never underestimate humanity. Warlord Krevos stared at his tactical display, trying to understand what he was seeing. 2,000 of his ships were gone. Simply gone. The humans had destroyed them in minutes. His vanguard, his best warriors, had been erased from existence by weapons he did not understand. But he still had 8,000 ships. The humans only had 500. Numbers had to count for something. They had to. "All vessels," Krevos commanded, his voice shaking with rage. "Attack formation Delta. Surround the human fleet from all sides. Concentrate all firepower on their largest ships. Overwhelm their defenses. Kill them all." The Vrathian armada moved like a great beast awakening. 8,000 warships adjusted their positions, forming a massive sphere around the advancing human fleet. They would attack from every direction at once, make it impossible for the humans to defend themselves. There would be nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. Captain Salman Han watched from her scout ship at the edge of the system. Her sensors recorded everything. "Lieutenant Unji, are you seeing these power readings from the human fleet?" Unji checked her console, her eyes wide. "Yes, Captain. Their energy output is increasing. All 500 ships are channeling power to their weapon systems. The readings they're off the scale. I've never seen anything like this. Send all data to Supreme Commander Draxus," Salman ordered. "He needs to see this." On the orbital defense station, Draxus studied the information from Salman's scouts. The human ships were drawing enormous amounts of power from their reactors, far more than any coalition vessel could produce. Their weapons were charging to levels that should be impossible. The numbers on his screen did not make sense. No ship could generate that much energy without exploding, unless human technology was far more advanced than anyone had imagined. "Soren," Draxus said to his tactical officer, Calculate the blast radius if those human weapons fire at full power. Soren worked quickly, then stopped. His scales turned pale. Commander, if these readings are accurate, a single volley from the human fleet could destroy thousands of ships. The energy release would be equivalent to multiple solar flares. How is that possible? I don't know, sir. But I think we're about to find out. On the Indomitable, Admiral Jinwoo Park watched the Vrothian fleet close in around them. Captain Hana Lee displayed the tactical situation on the main screen. The human fleet was completely surrounded, enemy ships on all sides, above, below, every direction. A perfect trap. Except the humans had wanted this. They had planned for it. All enemy vessels are within optimal firing range, Hana reported. The targeting network has locked onto 7,943 ships. Firing solutions calculated and distributed to all vessels. Plasma lances are at maximum charge, Minho Kang added from engineering. Reactors are stable. We can maintain this power level for sustained combat. Commander Taeyong Kim monitored his drone swarms. All 50,000 drones are engaging enemy point defense systems. We've disabled targeting computers on approximately 2,000 enemy ships. They're flying blind. Dr. Yuna Choi checked the quantum targeting network one final time. All systems optimal, Admiral. The fleet is ready. Jinwoo took a slow breath. Around him, the Vrothian Empire had assembled the largest war fleet in galactic history. 8,000 ships, hundreds of thousands of warriors, weapons capable of destroying planets. They thought they were about to crush the human fleet. They thought their numbers would win. They were wrong. All ships, Jinwoo said calmly into the fleet channel. Fire at will. Execute Protocol Ragnarok. Do not stop until every enemy vessel is destroyed or surrendered. The human fleet fired. All 500 ships, all at once. 50 Tangent-class battleships unleashed their main plasma lances. These were the largest weapons ever built by humanity, capable of punching through planetary shields. Each lance struck with the force of a small sun. They did not just destroy ships. They vaporized them. Turned them into expanding clouds of superheated gas. The Vrothian shields, strong enough to withstand coalition weapons for hours, lasted less than a heartbeat against the plasma lances. Metal, designed to survive in deep space, melted instantly. Reactors, built with multiple safety systems, overloaded and exploded. In the first 3 seconds of combat, 1,000 Vrothian ships were destroyed. 1,000 crews, gone. Erased from existence by weapons they could not defend against. The human cruisers and destroyers fired their secondary weapons. Quantum disruptors. Devices that disrupted the molecular bonds holding matter together. When these weapons hit enemy shields, the shields simply stopped existing. The same happened to the ships underneath. No explosion, no fire. The ships just came apart at the atomic level, dissolving into nothing. Another 1,000 Vrothian vessels ceased to exist. 2,000 gone in 10 seconds. Warlord Krivos watched in horror as his fleet died around him. Return fire! All ships, fire everything. The Vrothian armada unleashed their full arsenal. Energy beams, missiles, kinetic projectiles. Every weapon they had. The combined firepower of 6,000 ships, all targeting the 500 human vessels. Space itself seemed to burn with the intensity of the attack. It accomplished nothing. The human shields absorbed everything. Dr. Yuna Choi had designed those shields based on quantum field theory, creating barriers that existed in multiple dimensions at once. Coalition weapons operated in normal space. They could not touch shields that partially existed outside reality. Shields, holding at 95%. Yuna reported calmly. Enemy weapons are ineffective. The human fleet continued firing. Plasma lances cut through the Vrothian formation like a hot knife through butter. Quantum disruptors erased ships from existence. The point defense systems, more accurate than anything the Coalition possessed, shot down every missile that came close. Commander Taeyong's drones swarmed through the battle space. They were too small and fast for Vrothian weapons to track. The drones worked in groups, 50 or 100, attacking a single enemy ship. They hacked into computer systems, disabled weapons, caused reactors to malfunction. Some drones carried small explosive charges, attaching to critical systems and detonating. The Vrathian fleet was not just losing, it was being systematically destroyed. Every second, dozens more ships exploded, or came apart, or simply stopped functioning. The humans fought with mechanical precision, no wasted shots, no mistakes, perfect coordination across 500 vessels. Captain Hana Lee directed the battle like a conductor leading an orchestra. The tactical network showed her everything: enemy positions, weapon status, damage reports, projected outcomes. She adjusted targeting priorities in real time, ensuring maximum efficiency. Every shot counted. Every ship in the human fleet knew exactly what to do. 3 minutes into the battle, 5,000 Vrathian ships were destroyed. 3 minutes. 5,000. Supreme Commander Draxus watched from Nexus 7, unable to speak. His mind could not process what he was seeing. The humans, the species his people had considered weak and primitive, were destroying the most powerful military force in the galaxy. They were not just winning. They were dominating. The Vrathian Empire had terrorized the coalition for 3 years, conquered dozens of worlds, killed billions. And the humans were tearing through them like they were nothing. Captain Samenhan monitored her sensors, recording every moment. Lieutenant Unji, confirm these numbers. 5,000 enemy ships destroyed? Confirmed, Captain, Unji said, her voice shaking. 5,000. And the human fleet has taken 0 casualties, not one ship damaged. How is this possible? I don't know, Captain. I don't think anyone knows. On the Destroyer of Worlds, Warlord Krivos realized he was going to die. His fleet was being annihilated. 3,000 ships remained, and they were dying every second. The humans were not slowing down. They were not getting tired. They were machines, perfect and terrible and unstoppable. Retreat! Krivos shouted. All ships, retreat! Get to jump distance and flee. The remaining Vrathian ships tried to run. They turned away from the human fleet and accelerated, desperately trying to reach the minimum safe distance for faster-than-light travel. But they could not outrun the human weapons. Plasma lances had no maximum range. They traveled at light speed. There was no escape. Admiral Jinwoo Park watched the enemy flee. He felt no satisfaction, no joy, only grim determination. Hana, do not let them escape. If we let them go, they will rebuild and attack again. End this now. Hana nodded. All ships, pursue and destroy. No mercy. The human fleet accelerated. Their quantum slip drives allowed them to move faster than any normal ship. They caught up to the fleeing Vrathian vessels easily. The slaughter continued. Commander Taeyong's drones chased down the fastest enemy ships. Dr. Yuna's quantum disruptors erased the stragglers. Minho's reactors provided endless power for the weapons. The human fleet worked together with perfect efficiency, hunting down every enemy vessel. 7 minutes after the battle began, only one Vrathian ship remained, the Destroyer of Worlds, Warlord Krivos's flagship. It sat alone in space, surrounded by debris and floating bodies. Around it, 500 human warships waited. Jinwoo opened a channel to the enemy flagship. Krivos appeared on screen, his armor scorched, his face showing shock and fear. Warlord Krivos, Jinwoo said calmly. Your fleet is destroyed. 10,000 ships, gone. You have one chance to survive. Surrender your ship immediately. Power down all weapons. Prepare to be boarded. Krivos looked at the human admiral, this small creature who had destroyed his empire's greatest fleet in 7 minutes. He thought about fighting, about dying with honor. Then he thought about going home, about warning his people never to fight humans again. I surrender, Krivos said quietly. He gave orders to his crew. The Destroyer of Worlds powered down its weapons and shields. Human marines boarded the ship and took Krivos into custody. The battle was over. The Vrathian Empire's invasion fleet, 10,000 strong, was gone. destroyed in 7 minutes and 34 seconds. And the human fleet had not lost a single ship. Silence filled the space around Nexus 7. The battle was over. Debris floated where the Vrathian fleet had been, pieces of 10,000 warships drifting in the darkness. No survivors. No escape pods. The human weapons had been too fast, too efficient, too deadly. The Coalition fleet hung in space, 3,000 ships that had prepared to die defending their homeworld. But they had not fired a single shot. The humans had done everything, 7 minutes and 34 seconds. That was how long it took for humanity to destroy the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known. Supreme Commander Draxus stood on the orbital defense station, staring at the tactical display. The numbers were there, clear and undeniable, but his mind refused to accept them. 10,000 enemy ships destroyed, 500 human ships undamaged, 0 human casualties. It was impossible. It had to be impossible. But it had happened. He had watched it happen. "Commander," Soren said quietly, "the humans are requesting permission to approach Nexus 7. Admiral Park wants to speak with you." In person. Draxus took a slow breath. "Grant permission. Tell them they are welcome." One human ship separated from the fleet and flew toward the orbital station. The Indomitable, Admiral Jinwoo Park's flagship. It was enormous up close. Larger than the station itself. Draxus had thought it was just a transport ship when humans first joined the Coalition. Now he knew better. It was a weapon. A terrible, beautiful weapon. The ship docked carefully. Moments later, Admiral Park walked onto the station. He was not tall by Coalition standards. His body looked fragile. His skin soft and vulnerable. But Draxus saw him differently now. This small human had commanded the fleet that saved Nexus 7. This small human had destroyed 10,000 warships without losing a single one of his own. Draxus offered the traditional Valtorian greeting, crossing his arms over his chest. "Admiral Park, you saved us. You saved 5 billion people. I have no words to express my gratitude." Jinwoo returned the gesture. "We came to help our friends, Commander. The Coalition called for aid." We answered. "But how?" Draxus asked, unable to stop himself. "How did you arrive so fast? How are your ships so powerful? How did you hide this from us?" Jinwoo looked at him with calm eyes. "Perhaps we should speak somewhere private. I think it is time the Coalition learned the truth about humanity." They walked to Draxus's office, a small room with windows showing the planet below. Captain Hana Lee and Dr. Yuna Choi accompanied Admiral Park. Soren came with Draxus. The door closed behind them. "We have not been honest with you," Jinwoo began. "When humanity joined the Coalition 4 years ago, we showed you our oldest ships, our weakest weapons. We let you believe we were primitive, harmless, good for carrying supplies but not for fighting." "Why?" Draxus asked. "Why hide your strength?" Dr. Yuna spoke up. "Because we had to be sure. Commander, do you know Earth's history? Do you know how humans reached the stars?" "Only the basic facts. Your species developed space travel about 300 years ago." "Yes," Yuna said sadly. "But before that, we spent thousands of years killing each other. Humans had wars. Terrible wars. We built weapons designed only to cause death. Nuclear bombs that could destroy entire cities in seconds. Biological weapons that could kill millions. Chemical agents that dissolved flesh from bone. We nearly made ourselves extinct." Hana continued the story. 200 years ago, Earth was divided into over 100 nations. They fought constantly. Then they built too many weapons. Too much power. The final war almost happened. Missiles were launched. Bombs were ready. We were minutes away from destroying our own world. "What stopped it?" Soren asked quietly. "We did," Jinwoo said. "Humans. At the last moment, we stopped. Leaders from every nation came together and asked themselves a simple question. Is this what we want? To die by our own hand? To destroy the only world we have? And they chose differently. They put down the weapons. They made peace. They unified Earth under one government. But we never forgot how to build those weapons, Yuna added. We kept the knowledge. We improved the technology. When we reached space and found the Galactic Coalition, we realized the galaxy could be dangerous. So we built a fleet, a real fleet. Ships with weapons based on what we learned during our darkest days. But we kept them secret. Effer. Draxus understood now. You wanted to make sure you were ready for peace before you showed what you could do in war. Exactly, Jinwoo said. We spent 4 years in the Coalition watching, learning, making sure we understood the other species, making sure we could control our own power. We had to know that we would not become the monsters we used to be, that we would use our strength to protect, not to conquer. The quantum slip drive that brought you here so fast, Draxus said. The plasma weapons. The shields that stopped everything. How long have you had this technology? The basic principles were developed a century ago, Yuna explained. But we refined them, perfected them. The quantum slip drive lets us travel faster than light by bending space itself. The plasma lances use contained fusion reactions, the same power as a star, focused into a single beam. The shields exist partially in another dimension, making them almost impossible to break. And the tactical network coordinates everything with quantum computers that process information faster than any biological brain. Captain Samenhan's voice came over the communication system. Commander Draxus. Sorry to interrupt, but thousands of messages are coming in from across the Coalition. Every world, every station, every ship that monitored the battle. They all want to know the same thing. What just happened? Oh. Draxus looked at Jinwoo. What should I tell them? The truth, Jinwoo said simply. Tell them humanity has been holding back. Tell them we waited until we were sure. Until we were needed. Tell them we are not conquerors. We are protectors. Messages flooded in from across Coalition space. Captain Saman sent a report about what she had witnessed. Lieutenant Yunji's sensor data was reviewed by scientists on a dozen worlds. The footage of the battle was analyzed by military officers from every species. And slowly, the galaxy's view of humanity changed. The weak became the strong. The harmless became the powerful. The species that carried supplies became the species that saved the Coalition. On Earth, billions of humans watched the news broadcasts. They saw their fleet at Nexus 7. They saw what their military had accomplished. Some were proud. Others were worried. Had they revealed too much? Would the galaxy fear them now? But Admiral Park had made the right choice. When Draxus asked him to address the Coalition, to explain humanity's actions, Jinwoo spoke with honesty. We are not perfect, he said in his broadcast to billions of beings across hundreds of worlds. Humans have made terrible mistakes. We nearly destroyed ourselves with our own weapons. But we learned from those mistakes. We chose peace. When we joined the Coalition, we wanted to be sure we would be good neighbors, good friends. We hid our military strength because we needed to prove to ourselves that we could be trusted with that power. Today, the Vrathian Empire threatened innocent lives. They threatened our friends. So we showed them what humans can do when we must fight. But we did not fight for glory or conquest. We fought to protect. And that is what we will continue to do. Humanity stands with the Coalition. Not above it. Not ruling it. Standing beside you. As equals. As friends. The response was overwhelming. Some Coalition species were grateful. Others were afraid. A few were angry that humans had hidden such power. But most understood. They had seen the Vrathian Empire's cruelty. They knew what would have happened without the human fleet. Warlord Krivas sat in a Coalition prison cell, waiting for trial. He thought about the battle, replaying it in his mind. 7 minutes. His entire fleet. Destroyed. In 7 minutes. The humans had not even been trying hard. They could have made it faster if they wanted. He thought about his empire, how they had terrorized the galaxy for years. Now everyone knew there was a species that could stop them. a species that could destroy the most powerful fleets in minutes. The Vrathian Empire would never be the same. They would never attack the Coalition again, not with humans protecting it. In his cell, Krivos laughed bitterly. His people had been defeated by a species they did not even know existed. By creatures so small and fragile-looking. But appearances meant nothing. The humans were not fragile. They were the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and they chose to be protectors instead of conquerors. Krivos did not know if he should be relieved or terrified. Weeks passed. The human fleet remained at Nexus 7, helping with cleanup and reconstruction. Admiral Park met with Coalition leaders, discussing the future. Other human ships were revealed, stationed in secret locations across Coalition space. The full size of Earth's military became known, 2,000 warships, all hidden until now. The Coalition Council met to discuss what this meant. Should they fear humanity? Should they demand restrictions on human weapons? In the end, they decided on something different. They asked humanity to become the Coalition's official defense force, to protect all member worlds with their advanced technology. Jinwoo discussed this with Earth's government. The decision was not easy. Taking on that responsibility meant humanity would be the galaxy's shield. They would be the ones fighting future threats. They would be the ones making hard choices. But in the end, Earth agreed. They had shown their strength. Now they would use it wisely. Admiral Park stood on the Indomitable's bridge, looking at Nexus 7 below. The planet was safe. Its people were alive. The human fleet had fulfilled its purpose. Captain Hana approached him. Admiral, new orders from Earth Command. We're to establish permanent defense stations across Coalition space. They want us to train Coalition forces in modern combat tactics. Commander Taiyang added, the other species want to learn from us. They're asking about our technology, our weapons, our strategies. Dr. Yuna smiled. I think we've started something big, Admiral. The galaxy will never be the same. Jinwoo nodded slowly. No. It will not. Humanity kept its strength hidden for a long time. Now everyone knows what we can do. The question is, can we be trusted with this power? We already proved that, Hana said confidently. We had the chance to conquer. Instead, we chose to protect. That is who humans are. Jinwoo looked out at the stars, at the vast galaxy full of different species, different worlds. Somewhere out there, other threats existed. Other empires. Other dangers. And now, humanity would face them, not alone, but as part of the Coalition. As friends and protectors, the Vrathian fleet had arrived, 10,000 strong, ready to destroy. Humanity's battle fleet arrived in response. In mere moments, the enemy were no more. And the galaxy learned that the small, fragile-looking humans were the most powerful warriors among the stars. But more importantly, the galaxy learned that humans used that power not for conquest, but for protection. And that made all the difference.